Hi.
Hi, welcome Tzipi. Welcome
Hi.
everybody to
Hi,
another
welcome,
episode of
Tzili.
Tzuzamen.
This is Tzili. Hi, Tzili. Tzuzamen every week when we come to be inspired. And today we have somebody that inspired me from the moment I knew him, which was a few years ago. We were together in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where we went to school together. And since then, I'm a groupie. So Yossi Uzrad, what can I tell you? He will give us a list, but basically we are going to join his journey because it's unbelievable where he started and where he ended. By the way, his email is Dog TV.
Dog TV, yeah.
Yossi Dog TV, which already gives you a hint about one of the things, unbelievable things he did.
What is Dog TV, Yossi?
Well, Doc TV, the television channel who actually intend not for human being, but for dogs. Actually, we figured out many years ago that dogs actually watch television. They can watch before, when it was analog and not digital. Dogs had a problem to see because of the amount of frames, so they have flickering to them. But today, the cameras is improve everything digital. It's the standard is so high, so dogs can see television without any problem. And the funny thing that we can use it quite well because we understand what the needs, and what the needs of the dogs totally different than human beings. So we have to adapt.
Well, you want to tell me that it's true?
Yeah, give you the example is very simple. The dog, for example, it depends about the mouse. If the mouse is long, so his vision is very narrow. Okay, regarding lights, or we can see many colors because we have three kind of we have a green, yellow, and blue that's together that make all the colors together, or red. With dogs, they have no red and green. They don't have. They have only blue and yellow. How they found this one, we can put it aside. There's a lot of research, but let's assume that dog can see blue and yellow, don't see green and red. So it means if you bought for him red ball and you put it on green lawn, the dog don't see that ball at all. But if you move, he will see it immediately, because movement, he can react much better than us. So during any movement at night and during the day, he can catch better than human being. That's one thing. The second thing, dogs are kind of animals that are living together with band, with team, with group. And as a human being, we not even listen to it. We take one dog at home. So usually he consider you as a leader of his gang, as leader of the group, leader of your team. So he react to you as a leader, and because you feed him, you tell him what to do. And while you go home, you go from your home to the work, you not explain to your dog, I'm going to work now. Or even you explain, the dog not understand what's work all about. For him, when you left home, you left forever. Right. You have no possibility to sing the way human beings sing, abstract, about what will be in the future. It's a more complicated way of thinking. Dogs don't have it. Dogs have the brain of 2 years old kids. So if you tell them you go, for them you go forever. So they feel very, very depressed.
But
and remember, just to give you an example, anytime when somebody is the owner of the dog coming back home, the dog immediately enjoy his tail and his barking and everything, because for him it's surprise. All times it's surprise. It's not that he don't know that you will come. No, he don't know. When you arrive, it's surprise for him. So what we do, we try to give them sound and music and picture of another dogs. So while they're sitting at home alone, they feel somebody have around them. And it's, we made a lot of research in Tufts University and other places. It's reduce the pressure, they reduce the the heart. They give them comfortable and they go to sleep much easier while the channel on and the television. They don't need to watch it. If they watch, no more than 2-3 minutes. But the sound and the environment given the whole things is cure better than any other thing. Just don't forget.
So what they
Dog
can
owners
hear?
buy-
What do you have?
Hmm?
What do you put on?
What are the programs?
The programs are we're now 11 years old, so we have thousands of programs. All of them shoot in special protocol that we actually shoot in the way of how dog can see. It's mean much more lower. We try to follow a lot of movement. We not concentrate on color. We colorize the picturize from blue and yellow so the dog can see better. And we have 3 kinds of program. One is relaxation, which is very slow with kind of classic music that we create with our musician that we know that is good for the dogs because, puts the heartbeats down and they can sleep. We have action, to stimulate them, to come, to bark, to move. It will not be like a batata television as we see. And we have something to educate them.
Batata
For
is
example,
potato.
the available potatoes coach, like that. Some dogs, we have one dog, we put a camera on him, he watched 7 hours in a row. He didn't move. He watched the television 7 hours. It's crazy. Usually it's 2-3 minutes, so you never know. So we need to move them sometimes by changing the programming on the television that makes them to move. We have a lot of examples. You can go to YouTube.
Unbelievable.
Just
It's all science.
dogs.
It's all science.
It comes from
Yeah.
dog.
No, it's unbelievable. But do you know that he, as we come to it in a minute, he was a head of a cable channel, really huge venue. Many years. How many years? You were at the vet?
Well, let's say that my career in communication starts 70 something,
Oh.
Long time ago. I started there. I was a freelance reporter in the IDF radio in Israel, which was at that time was only you can serve, if you serve in the army, you can join to the radio, but I decided to come from outside after I was old, compared to the people there. But I joined, I started as a journalist and mostly on police information, and I have a lot of information about the police action at that time because I was a police officer.
You were? What do you mean you were a police officer?
Long time ago.
Hello. So we'll have to talk to him about what's happened now in Machash, but we'll wait a minute.
No.
Wow, never mind, but you know what I mean.
So when I came to Galei Tzahal, that was my best source.
Galei Tzahal is the army station.
Yeah, military.
The IDF radio, yeah.
What?
And so I started as a reporter, and I cover usually, in the beginning, the regular stuff, and later on I was in charge about political journalist, and I became an editor. And after a short time, I was the head of the news department of Galei Tzahal, the IDF radio, which at that time was only 2 stations in Israel. That means if you open your mouth in front of the microphone, half of the country hear you. And it was a lot of influence. And I can tell you that the position I got, there's a lot of power in very young age. And it's teach me a lot because I realized suddenly the amount of power that few people can have, and how to use this power. It's the most important thing in the
Well, you just stimulate me, and I have to deviate a little bit and stop for a minute because so when you were a journalist back then, and I don't know if you were aware, I guess you were aware of your power. Did you use it to manipulate our minds? What was your
Never.
because you know where I'm driving. Because today I watch so many journalists, on television, and I feel like they learn so cleverly how to manipulate my mind.
I think it changed a lot.
Tzipi,
Yeah.
yeah, it changed. I think that it's difficult. I don't want to make now lecture about what I'm thinking about journalism, professional journalism, but it's few main rules that if you follow them, you be on the right side.
Like what?
But for example, you decide what to put in first according to what is new, important, and how much the influence, how many people will influence by that. Exactly, that's the most important thing. But חשוב, חדש ומעניין. It means what's most important, what's new, and very interesting. So I'll give you some example how we can manipulate things that's very difficult. For example, if tomorrow the government will decide to increase the, let's say, the VAT for 1%, instead of 70%, all the people will pay now 18% VAT. About any package that will pay 80%, okay? The 1%, well, if you consider it interesting, maybe it's not so interesting. 1% in VAT, who is interested to hear this news? But 1%, it's important because it's influenced by all the population in the country. And it's a new, of course, it's a new. And the effective is, you need to, to revise the effective 1%. 1% of, interest, 1% of VAT change the economic of countries.
Right.
And people don't understand it.
Don't understand.
But so if you
wait, so you also, what you do now, even with us, you don't only give us information, but you give us a tool to understand, this information.
Yeah, that's the way how you
it
judge
affects us.
How the editor decide what he will broadcast at that day. You have a lot of information, many, you get information from all the reporters, and you have to take the whole information arrive to before the time he broadcast, and to decide what's number one, what's number two, what number three, number two, and what is left out. And the decision made by the editor, and depend if they have even the professional decision, so his view and what he think about any subject is not important. You have to bring the information.
Wait. You said it's not important?
You need to bring the information as it is and let the listener or the viewer to decide what to do. And what's the thing about?
So far away where we are now.
Yossi, there is a big difference also in the time zone. When you started to report news, how many hours a day of information the audience got compared to today?
A lot. The same, more or less.
Every hour, even
more or less the same.
Sure.
Because it seems to me now that the amount of talking on the communication channels is non-stop, and they just fill time.
You're talking about television. Television has reason. Television, because news is the most non-expensive. It's a cheaper way to produce television. That's the only reason they put a long news, not because they like news and they bring more, because it's cheap.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's an increase from, usually it was half an hour in Mabat, and now it's 1 hour and 15. Okay, yes, you're right. And you have
They start at 3 o'clock in Channel 2, for example.
I know. There are many programs talking heads. Yeah, but they're talking heads
until 9:15.
Anyhow, you sit in the studio, 2 people, 2 microphones, 3 people. It's the cheapest way to do television. So you sit talking.
But you see, CNN is like that, but they are designated. I mean, this is what they declare that they are what they do. So this is CNN or Fox, whatever.
Yeah, but
not. We don't expect it from every
but
channel.
once they started, everybody followed.
But if you're talking about
when he was, in television, there were original programming, there were games, there were music, there were a lot of folk music.
I guess that the change done immediately when Trump on power. When Trump became a president, suddenly he bring what he called alternative truth.
Right.
What has been alternative truth?
Alternative truth. Yeah.
It's lying, it's fake.
Yes.
But he washed it, the word in alternative truth. It's mean I can give you, if you think this way, everything have a few viewing, and my view is different, different than you. But he don't care if it's true or not. So the fake news become a tool to change and to make, let's say, change the environment of communication. You not believe anymore. He tried to convince you, don't believe news, don't believe reporter, he lying to you.
Don't believe the
I
court,
have
even.
And suddenly people become confused.
Yes.
And a system of to confuse the audience is the most important thing for politicians. Because, for example, let's from yesterday. Yesterday, the former Prime Minister Netanyahu went to one of the committee. He had to say what could happen in Miron committee. Okay,
where people were.
And he came out not so good regarding the atmosphere of the audience in it. So immediately he will push another news, big news, that cover and to move this unnecessary or uncomfortable news to move it by pushing. That's right. And it's always doing like that. And most of the people not enough clever to feel and to understand how the manipulated by the reporter. And today many of them say their ideas and their view and put it not as their view, and they put it as their objective true, which is not true.
So back then we thought that you as a journalist, you don't come from a personal preconceived idea.
When I was journalist, my opinion was not important.
That's what I mean.
Right.
And we knew it.
You just delivered the idea. Yeah.
But none of them know what I'm thinking and what I'm going to vote in the election. Right. Today, you know exactly.
Yes. You absolutely we know, but
maybe
in America, right? We know who is
composition. People composition.
That's right. You know, she has a friend. She has a friend.
Wolf Blitzer. You don't know what he thinks. He keeps it. He keeps it in between. He keeps it. He's
a very major CNN. But Wolf Blitzer. He's a major CNN.
Yeah. I met him when he was Ze'ev. בליצר כתב על המשמר, ככה הוא התחיל.
וואו.
אני זוכר אותו כתב על המשמר.
He's a good friend of Tzili, and she, I don't know if you know his political views.
הוא התחיל ככתב על המשמר. היה כתב על המשמר.
And then he wrote the Muslim Post, and he speaks Hebrew, by the way. But
I don't know what his political views. That's a thing.
People ask him for his opinion. They won't. He won't tell. Nobody would know.
Okay.
Okay. He's so neutral. He's so neutral.
So, I must be honest with you, because when I asked you to come and talk to us, she knows I am really, I don't know what, really obsessed with trying to reclaim. I don't know what it is, but it's really a problem for me. I want to reclaim things that we lost, or I lost. And I try to reclaim it in every, I want back. I don't want to be back, 50 years or 30 years ago, but I do want to keep some values that I can feel.
The values.
And I don't want to be so much poison.
But Tzipi, today, I'm not expecting to the country or the state to do anything that is matter of value. It's a matter of education is belong to the parents, not anymore to the state. Your responsibility to your kids. If you can't educate them, if you can't give them the right things, how the value is important, the most important things of not to lie and to be honest and
to respect the other.
try to to respect patient and listen to different ideas. It's difficult things. It's long time. It's many years, but something happened to our countries that half of the country, the value changed to be value of power, money, respect.
Right.
And
But Yossi, this is not new.
I lost of fire.
only in our country. Yossi, it's not new and it's not
You're
only
right.
Israel. The world,
You're right.
the money
It's
and
not
power always controlled everything. Just in between, you had greater people that thought beyond that and were able to lead or to
we heard their voice. We try to hear to other voices.
I don't think today anybody.
But let's. I'm suggest we not talk about politics because it will never come out in Israel. Politics. The fifth election campaign now going on, and then November we have another election. So we should put the politics side and let's see if we can speak about television and movies.
I don't know. We shouldn't talk politics only because we agree with each other. I'm sure.
But
of course,
I'm curious.
The arts become.
Yeah. I'm curious about one thing, because you produced many TV shows
and good ones, excellent ones.
Among them, entertainment shows with Yair Lapid, who is today the Prime Minister, and with Merav Michaeli, who is the head of the Labour Party. It's a big difference. It's a big jump. What do you think about it? What do you think about them, and how do you think they carry on?
One thing I can tell you, that is the only country in the world, the state of the world like Israel, that somebody like me can tell the world, the Prime Minister used to work for me, the Minister of Transportation used to work for me, the Minister of Health used to work for me, and the Minister of Mishpatim, the
Justice Department
used to work for me, and many other that it's funny. Yeah, it is important, but all of them was journalists, and we've been together in Galei Tzahal and other places. So I think each of them very talented. Personally, I know them, each of them, and of course, I don't want to say what I'm feeling or what my reaction to privately to each of them, but all of them very smart and have ability to handle the jobs they are doing. Even, Nitzan Horowitz is somebody that I was wondering if he can handle the office of that, because he is very intellectual, but not practical. And he's a guy who used to sitting in his place in Galei Tzahal and playing accordion instead to write his report, because we need to play something. And the people are very, very creative. Each of them very creative, and I appreciate that. So, but let's talk about what happened to the Israeli television. I guess Israel, the development in Israel is amazing. Yesterday I saw a movie called Karaoke.
Yeah,
actually, yesterday too. Oh, you came to Jerusalem Film Festival?
Yeah,
I was there.
One in Tribeca. It's one in Tribeca. It's the second Israeli film won Tribeca. The first one was Efes Biachsei Enosh.
I was with my films.
Zero.
I was in Tribeca with one of my films, but I didn't get any prize.
Anyhow, I produced this movie, so, but I didn't been this. I haven't been in the ceremony when Robert De Niro gives the prize, because I was sleeping in the hotel. Didn't come up. So I missed it. Yeah, that's true. I didn't come to get the prize from Robert De Niro because I fell asleep and stayed at the hotel.
That's a nice story.
But it's okay.
How did you choose? How did you choose when you used to produce and you had by the way, you had a company with your wife, right? With Lisa?
Yeah.
Yossi Uzrad, right?
Yeah.
It was your wife with
Lisa
she's a great cookie, she's really somebody. But anyway, how did you choose what to produce?
Well,
what was your criteria?
In the beginning, long time ago, when I talk about 91, no, even more, 97, I was become the head of the CEO of ICP after two
ICP
very big.
was
It was the Israel Cable Programming. The Israel Cable Programming, actually, the company was actually supplies the whole programming for the cable, the whole cable companies in Israel.
Right.
And
so you had actually to go and choose programs, right?
Yeah. So one of the main decisions I decided that we're going to produce a local production. And the local production, what I done, I put a slot which is called Sunday evening drama. And I decided to try to produce 50 1-hour drama stories. It means 50 series of 50 different stories done by different
very expensive
different directors, and every Sunday night we will see one drama of 50 minutes Israeli drama. Right. That was and why I decided about 50, because I realized that the ability professional of that time was not enough to make a good movie on in television for 1 hour and a half. So 50 was fine. And we took very good lectors like Eitan Green and other people, and we asked from the industry to send us script, and we choose. And I tell you, it was so not organized. You know, for example, I work about one performance at Tekes Narat Hashana, one beauty contest, okay, in Israel. And one of the director of who directs the promo in between the competition came to me and said, I have a great story about my grandma. He's died in the kibbutz, and he starts telling the story. And it's סבתא מת, מבצע סבתא. דרור שאול פשוט בא וניגש אליו, סיפר לי את הסיפור על הבמה, בזמן שאנחנו
מכוונים את הפעילות. In the middle of something else, which you're not supposed to do, by the way. You cannot pitch a producer in the middle of a festival or in music, you know, it's never.
Anyhow, I said, amazing pitch, come to me next week. He come week after with a script, and I said, how many drama you direct before? I said, none. Okay. Okay. So I decided to give him a chance. And it was amazing. You know,
so again, so you read the script.
And then Shai cannot, Lisa, my wife, today, then she was the head of the drama in JCS. She came to me and said, I have a very nice draft for some young guy. Would you mind to read it? I say, wow, it's amazing. Call me. Shai cannot, the director, first drama he directed, it was there. Then Eitan London. So I gave a chance for like 10 different director, first time to direct drama.
So what you're looking for?
And all of them, most of them are still director feature movies today. And if you don't give them the chance, they will not invite us.
What you're looking for? What was it that
I look for something good. I didn't care less unless it was a good story and good writing and good mise-en-scène. I could be about any subject they want. I didn't care less, but I want the professional by writing, the way they produce it, the way they photo, the way they direct it, to make it a really good show. And the first one we produced, we won in Banff. חובו של אהרון כהן. אהרון כהן death. You never heard about this movie ever. Doesn't matter. It's חובו של אהרון כהן is the first movie done with actually משחקים בו השחקנים הכי טובים שיש, כן? משה ו... מה? הוא הגיע לבנף, הוא זכה מקום ראשון, סרט הטלוויזיה יותר פעם ראשונה השתתפנו בבנף.
That's right.
First prize. בישראל לא כתבו על זה. זה לא הוזכר.
I know, I never heard of it.
אני הגעתי לבנף.
הייתי
בניו יורק.
If you don't speak in English, I will talk to you in Yiddish.
I was in New York and I got a call from Banff and say, well, we advise you to come to Banff. Say it's long flight, it's long way. Think about they couldn't tell me that we won, but they asked me very profusely to come. So I called to the scriptwriter who used to live in Los Angeles, and I took a plane to Banff. And we're sitting
This
there,
is
and
the British Oscar, BAFTA.
and I sit beside David A. Kelly and what is now the beautiful wife. She was actor, you know. That time was X-File and L.A. Law and all this.
You mean Michelle Pfeiffer? Michelle Pfeiffer. What do you mean? That's a dream of every. No, every kibbutznik. Every kibbutznik would like to have Michelle Pfeiffer.
I don't. Okay, I met all of them, so I don't. You know.
What do you mean?
So
you met all of them.
Because if you, later on when you be the head of ICP, so I bought like 1,000 to 1,200 movies per year and 800 hours of television. So I used to go to LA, and there's of course the studio spoil you because you pay them for money. So you have, if you want to see privately each of the actors, you can do this without any problem. Yeah, you just ask. I never ask, but you know, they bring you the cocktail and all this stuff. Always bring the actors to be there around them. Just, you know, take the chance to take pictures of them.
No, I try not to do. I understand. I know
at that time was not selfie. Selfie was not so popular, but I never took a selfie. You know, I try not to do that.
So now you step.
But I tell you the things that when I sitting there, Michelle Pfeiffer and David Eckel beside me, the other two sides, and suddenly the host say, and the first prize go to, and it was a BBC movie, the HBO movies, Showtime movies, and I never saw it. I don't give any chance that our movie will win. And I came on the stage and couldn't speak one word in English because suddenly the language would disappear. So I stood in front of these people in Canada and I said, guys, Hebrew was maybe one of the oldest language in the world. Unbelievable. I can read the Bible Hebrew, which created maybe 2,000 years ago, like that. Give me the Bible, I read it fluently without any problem. But English is not my mother tongue. I learned English after I was 21 when I first time I got to London. So if you can understand the language, I understand 20 years after 2,000 years, you will be patient with my poor English.
But you didn't invent it. I think I already told the story about Beba Idelson. Remember Beba Idelson? Beba Idelson came to CBS and they interviewed her and she said, women in Israel do not only wash vesh. Do you know what she said? No. Women in Israel don't only do laundry. Wash vesh. Wash laundry. Wash vesh. And this is what she said, and she was a parliament member. So that's okay. We have people who knew that's English they knew. But you see, so after what you told us, okay, since we started, then you end up sitting in a room writing books. What happened? What happened?
Well, I was born in a kibbutz, very long, small kibbutz, which was very close to the Syrian border, 800 meters. And I remember myself.
What's the name of the kibbutz?
Lavot HaBasham. Okay. And my childhood was very good. Maybe some of my other kids in my group felt uncomfortable. I was for the first kids in kibbutz. At that time was not many, and we sleeping, of course, separate from our parents with 6 kids in the beginning, and later on we've been 8 in the same group. And what fascinates me is that each of the people in my group was very, very smart and had some individual craft or some individual talent that was amazing. And I was average about everything. One of them was amazing in mathematics and he played violin. The other he was sportsman and a musician. One of the women, she painting fluently, she painting so well and she singing, each of them had something. I was average, I was everything okay, no more than that. And this situation, you had to somehow find your way and I might find way by telling stories.
Uh-huh.
And I used to tell stories for the kids before they go to sleep because I have quite nice imagination. And any story that we have through the day, I invent some different way to tell the story, and it's work. So immediately I thought I'm going to write plays. Of course, it didn't happen. I studied theater all my life, but I realized after I was a critic theater that I'm not interested in this medium of art, the most boring one for me today.
Oh, theater
And
is for you boring? Theater?
theater, yes, theater, yeah. I have a
Okay,
lot of
okay.
explanation why, but it's a matter of how much you are ready to dream and go out of your mind without thinking and try to find any logic about any thought. Because when you go in theater, it's actor, the actor acting, and you say, okay, I'm sitting here, and there's the let's say they have a three, not three, the four walls. One of the wall will taking out, and the people speaking to each other some sentence that you sing. But anytime, whatever you will do in theater, you will feel the machine working, not in a movie, not in television. In theater, you feel how the machine is working. You see the light, you see the dress, you see the moving, the change of the, and this convention that you understand that is theater, but you're ready to see it because of you, the conventions that you allowed them to do many, many things that happen like that and that. Okay, it's a theater a lot of rules. And if you accept the rule, you can maybe enjoy.
Yeah.
Since I give you the best example I can give, I saw once, I think it's what's the most important book of Dostoevsky? Headbone Show. Yeah. So we
Yeah,
make
the
a play
Crime and
of Headbone,
Punishment.
and it was in a Camry. And I was that time I was a writing critic for Galei Tzahal and for Iton Chadashot, for news Chadashot newspaper. And the first scene, Raskolnikov kills somebody. Okay, it's a very small part in the play. Guy was killed, took him out for the stage. During the play, that intermission, people go to the bar to drink something. Okay,
And
most
you
of the
don't
people don't know this, but suddenly I find myself sitting beside the actor
that was
who
killed.
was killed. He drinking his beer after he finished his work, okay? And you supposed to get into the inside to the theater and again see the whole things continue
This is a
according to
suspend
the
and
death
disbelief
of this guy,
convention.
of this actor was actually drinking
Okay.
beer others in other rooms. So for me, this medium, it's make me embarrassed many times because I'm feeling how the machine not working well. I see all the mistake of the lights, all the mistake of the if sometimes the play I know the play by heart, so I know how. For example, I saw in a camera once play of Lorca, and the first scene he talking about the field and about the grain, how yellow and nice. Impossible. Lorca never put yellow in the first scene because yellow, it's green. Green and the green and blue, it's mean death. Somebody have to kill. Because always in Lorca, in the end, the death is a blue
you don't
and
want
green.
to be innocent? You don't want to come with innocence?
No, but if you understand, if you know that Lorca, no, but Tzipi, if you know that Lorca as a playwright wrote palette of color that it's begin on white and go to yellow and then go to red and then to go green and then to go a very dark green and blue, which means death. You can't see green in the beginning, the dress green of one of the actors in the first scene.
This is a specific mistake by the theater delivering something.
But it's finished for me. It's finished.
So how come again? So you, what makes you end up in the last, I don't know how many years, to go into your room and write books and almost
Two things.
shove away. I know that you're
Yeah.
walking your dogs in this boulevard in Ramat HaSharon, I know, but yeah, but how come all these politics,
very
and the thousand and something acquiring some thousand and something movies a week or a month, and then you.
Okay. It's first because I was fed up to doing movie regarding the production situation. Is the production company is a situation is impossible, and
I know. Tell me about it.
I couldn't go
finished a
on.
feature film, I know.
Israel is a small country. Two big television station control, or four players control the market.
Right.
Let's say Hot, yes, Keshet, Reshet control the market. Today's Tagid, at that time was not Tagid. So the IBA television was not exist, didn't spend money. So you have to always to be nice to the four player. And if you stand about and because they have power, they try to push you always in the economic negotiation. And you had no chance because always they have so much stronger than you because they are so big than you. So you have to compromise. And I hate to compromise about things I am right. And they push me to the corner. So I decided to sell the company. And lucky enough, we had this great company.
He looked around and everybody there had something of their own, whatever. And only thing he had is to tell stories. That's what he said when he started as a kid. And now being 50, he went back. Don't react.
She's
I explained. So what are they? I feel they become so difficult to raise the money. And when you're doing movie, well, let's say I want to do my script. So it's mean I have to send it to the fund in front of somebody work for me.
We have public funds in Israel that if you don't get support from them, you cannot make a movie. Unless you don't have private investments actually.
And no private investment in television and only the player. Anyhow, so I said, if I want to do something by myself, the cheapest way to do, you don't need license, is to write, and I like to write. So, and one day I called to my partner and tell, finish. I had enough. I've got sick. I'm 60.
Well,
I manage a UPC in Europe, which is a huge conglomerate. I was head of programming of all over Europe. I'm in charge about the cables in Europe, so actually I touch I was head of the news department in Galei Tzahal. I done enough for my ego and to influence people, and I should do something that I really, really enjoy doing by myself. Is creative. To create my creation, my.
You finally can hear your own thoughts.
And
you finally can hear your own thoughts. What
no, I was lucky enough to earn enough money to allow myself to step out from business, to sit down and write, and don't care less if you sell or you're not sell. You do what you like to do. And because I was enough wealth to permit myself to do that. Only because my economic situation is good. Because my business is doing very well, I could sit down and write what I like to do. And then you realize that in writing, publishing and distributing, very difficult in Israel. In Israel, everything monopoly. In the books, the same monopoly. So it's a two distribution system. If you're not in one of them, you're out. And so whatever you do doesn't matter. You will get to the same circle, and you realize that.
So do you see yourself writing now for next chapter of your life? What is
I don't know. I'm
hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
I'm 73. I'm not so young.
You said 60.
Enough.
You said
I'm 73. I was born at 49. And I wrote 3 books. The first one now,
They are very,
I
very
said-
strong. What?
and I sent the last one to the publisher, a new publisher. I hope it will publish in, let's say, in the beginning of next year. And then I have to decide. I don't know. I'm producing now a movie in the state, documentary movie, which is, I guess, amazing documentary that I'm hope we can find somebody to finance it. We're still looking for somebody to put the money. And until now, the money that the only our money. But my wife, brother, Michael, he lived in Boston the last 20 years, and he now he is producer, editor, and photographer, and he has amazing story about one American Jewish guy who was born in United States, but rise up as a monastery in a Tibetan monastery, and he didn't know that he's American at all. And until he was 16, he thought he's Tibetan and he's a monk. And then he realized they have parents in the state. And anyhow, he make his journey to the state, study English, study in Brandeis, become the head of leader of the Tibetan in the state. Even he was American. He looked like American boy, California boy, okay? And that's his main problem, because when he was a monk, his color was white and everybody was brown, and no one understand how he was unique always. And of course, Melisted. So it's amazing story about guy, about his identity, how his parents, his hippie parents, leave him there to live in the monastery and continue their life. And it's a crazy thing. And it's anyhow, so we
tell me something. I don't know if I can still have time, but because you told this story, I know it's very hard to do it about yourself, but I would like to do an experiment with you. Do you know what is the through line that goes through everything you did, every story you choose to produce? Through line, I mean, like an intent, like a question you are asking yourself about yourself or the world, which somehow it comes in everything you touched. But you know, it can be a different story, a different plot, but still the core of it goes through everything.
The core is the justice.
Say
the core, I feel that somehow justice, tzedek, לא נעשה מספיק.
Wow. Yeah.
לא נעשה מספיק. Justice is not done enough. Wherever you go, by myself, is disturbing. מבקשי המקלט, the immigrants, only 28,000 immigrants in Israel. Why do they not become a citizen? Why the government makes their life miserable more than the miserable life already?
Right.
They are suffering for so many problems, so they put in more problems.
Right.
Regarding the, wicked people in the society, I'm lucky to be, to struggle through the society and came out very strong and very good, and have a nice life, and everything I need, I have. I don't need to do 2 breakfasts and 2 towels after my shower. But 90% of the population of the world are living in poverty.
Right.
Or maybe not 90, 80%. I think more than anyhow. Right. And we indifferent, and we don't care. And I try to take the art in many, many ways to wake the people and to be more kind, more good, more nice. We don't have pay nothing, any tax for smile. We don't pay any income tax on to be help somebody. We I don't understand why people, even credit in television, people are, sometimes crying about credit. Why? Who care? Anybody care? Give credit to the woman who clean as a stage while you shoot. It's fine enough. Why you care? Why you have people always stingy to give somebody to else? And it's very easy with it. Always I was easy because I born in kibbutz. I never was stingy. I don't mind to share with everybody else many, many things, because the end is nothing. It's car, it's money. It's not the most important thing about what we think and what we feel and what we love and what we think is important and right. So all my books somehow, in a way, is asking for better justice for the
Also
society.
comes up when in the television shows you produced. In many of them, you can find it too.
Mhm.
You know.
You can see in Pilpil in
Yes,
Yellow
yeah,
Papers
yeah,
and
right,
אפס
yeah.
פרסי
Yellow
אנוש,
Pepper.
in הסרט של איתן גרין, הכל מתחיל בים, everything
Right,
starts
right,
in the
right.
sea.
It is
You
coming
know,
to the same what we call through line of events.
the bandwidthing is exactly about how so stupid people, one in Egypt and Israel, or Palestine, Israel, never try to find the way how to cooperate together. They always try to do how to, you know, to be strong, or and maybe I'm naive. I'm naive. I'm declared. I'm naive. I believe in peace. I believe in love. I believe in human being. I believe to everybody who want to be good. If you behave different, I change my mind.
You found somebody like
always,
that right here. You know, she's
I'm
very
optimist. I'm optimist in from any way I'm looking.
So this is how I knew you. I don't remember how old you were when we met in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in the university, but you didn't change. I mean,
But I
and
think
something.
it's a good way to end.
Yes.
I feel old.
Because
Yeah.
we should stay
Yeah.
positive.
So
Yeah.
no, I just want to
Can I
tell you that
mention the name of the books?
Sure.
Tzipi,
Yes.
I'm sorry that I'm
I
usually
don't
I'm
know
not
if you
doing
can
that.
say it
but
in English.
can
Say
I-
it in
can I-
English.
Yeah.
Of course, I said
definitely.
English. I just want to mention of the books was actually published in English too. So one of the book is called Kibbutz Berlin, but in English it's called Back from Berlin.
Oh,
This is
yes.
my first book. It's talking about Yom Kippur War and the kibbutz, the
Yeah.
whole thing of the kibbutz.
Right.
The second one called Gesher Adodot was not translated to English, but I translate the book of my mother, which called Girl Called Renee, and it's a bestseller in Amazon. It's an amazing bestseller. It's translated to English and to German and to French and everything in Amazon. And it's a story about childhood during the Holocaust, but not in the you know the whole story about the crazy violent, but it's a story about human being, how he survives. The young girl tried to avoid the crazy life fell on her when she was 13 by herself, and it's a beautiful book that my mother wrote, and
Wow.
I really can promote it because it's an amazing book about the Holocaust.
This is
Yes.
unbelievable. Listen, Yossi,
Yossi, thank
you
you.
didn't know him, right?
No, I didn't know him.
No, so now you know each other
Yeah.
and you have a lot of things in common. But listen, I want to thank you so much for coming because you know I really
Tzipi, I really my last book called Yerech Mal Suetz.
yes, I read it. I wrote to you that it's a beautiful book.
It's a story about the arbitration war, מלחמת ההתשה.
Yeah,
the nutrition book.
I think the only novel was written about this war because 900
Yes.
Israeli was killed.
Nobody
And
wrote
nobody
about
mentioned it because it was not good.
Very good
We
book.
didn't-
I wrote to you.
Yeah. So this book was really worked very well. I need to translate it, but it will take time. It costs money.
Yeah. So listen, Yossi, we would like to thank you so much for coming. You and everybody who join us, and we'll be back in next week.
Next
We are
week.
back, and thank you for being really an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.